Built in 1899, 141 Fullerton Road has been the home of the South Australian War Widows since the 1950s. But now, the owners of the property, ACH, that's Aged Care Housing, want to dismantle 95% of the property, relocate the War Widows, and build 2 gigantic towers. Apparently, they are to be luxury aged care. With more and more of our history disappearing,
when I first came to the complex, I was not aware that ACH was my landlord, I guess you'd say. I had to do everything through War Widows. I had to sign all the forms through War Widows. I had to pass a, sort of an entry thing as far as War Widows were concerned. They had to make sure that I was a genuine War Widow for a start. I didn't deal with ACH.
Well, this property was originally always intended to house War Widows, was it not?
Correct.
Now, the War Widows changed the ownership of the property. That changed about 20 years ago, is that correct? How did that come about and why?
I understand the committee that was then were some fairly, sound aged girls, not to take anything away from them, and they were finding it very, very difficult. In some respects, not unlike what we've arrived at today.
What, to maintain the property?
To maintain the property, right? They put it out there to various groups that could come on board to advise, help, to probably maintain the properties, guide them in what they should do. ACH was the chosen group that obviously convinced them that they could come on board.
So ACH would have suggested that purchasing the property would be the best way for them to maintain it?
No, it was never a purchase consideration.
Right.
This was gifted.
It was gifted?
To ACH, yes.
Right. Was there always the understanding that this would always remain the home of the South Australian War Widows?
Oh, I think from my perspective, very much so. This was here until you either chose to move or circumstances dictated that you had to go. You passed away, or you went to live with family, or there were but you were here for life.
Yeah, indeed. Vasey House, is that going to survive this development?
Oh, I sincerely hope so, and ACH have all but guaranteed us that this is our legacy here on site.
What about the Jean Rouse Villa?
The only thing I know about Jean Rouse Villa, she was the first lass who paid her shilling to become the first war widow, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We never put it up for heritage. Why? I can't tell you why we didn't.
Because the proposed plan is to demolish the Jean Rouse Villa and
it's
leave
to
this
demolish everything. The only thing that will stand is this building, the Vasey House. Yes. Now, in the scheme of things, I'm disappointed that probably we didn't do a better survey of what's here on site, that we could have been more diligent to secure more of the buildings, or at least Jean Rouse. I mean, her husband was a prisoner of war. There's a long history attached to her and what the Jean Rouse Villa stands for. I think when I moved here 15 years ago, I never thought about moving out. Again, earlier I said it would be a consideration of whether I was going to live with family or I ended up in a residential care somewhere or whatever. So no, I just, then down the track, I was enlightened about the gifting and that a 2-year period would be talked about where ACH could approach us and say, right, you've had a 10-year contract you've had the next 10-year contract, but in that second 10-year, in a 2-year period, coming towards the end of that ACH would approach us to talk to us about developing what was going to happen here on site. And then all of a sudden, the day arrived. The complex wasn't full of war widows. There was only a few of us on site. The rest of them were ACH clients. So, but from the war widows that were here, I think we were disappointed that almost like our legacy was just coming to an end.
What do you think the impact was on those women that have had to have been relocated?
Oh, Jethro, it's I've talked to some of these girls, and whilst they're very disappointed, I think they're a fairly resilient bunch, right. And I think that they've taken it in their stride too. It's something they've said it's inevitable. They've just moved with the what's got to happen. They're disappointed.
Now, you were a resident in the Jean Rouse Villa, is that right?
Yes, I was.
How did you like living there?
I loved it there. It was a beautiful 1920s built villa. It had the high ceilings and the old fireplaces. I loved the place, I really did.
Did it have a good energy about it?
It had a sense of happy families.
Was it good for your mental health?
Very good, yes.
Indeed. How did you feel when you've since been relocated by ACH?
Yes.
When you were first given the news that you would have to give up living at the Jean Rouse Villa,
yes.
How did you feel about that?
Devastated. I had no idea of the situation when I came. When I first moved to Adelaide, it was to support the war widows of South Australia. And I made this is my third move to be here so I could support the war widows of South Australia.
And you thought that was going to be the last move?
I thought it was going to be it. This was my goal.
Your husband was a serviceman?
He was, yes.
What did he do in the war?
He was a sub-lieutenant on minesweepers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Indeed. And so, of course, that's how you were given the war widow status and invited to live here.
Yes.
Now, you've since been relocated. What was that process like for you?
It was extremely difficult for me.
Why was that?
Because I was where I wanted to be. I wanted to be here. This had been my goal since 2018, to be here. The War Widows were my family. I loved being part of the War Widows. I volunteered. I was at the office twice a week.
And do you feel that your relocation has disrupted that?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you feel out of touch with your fellow war widows and
I
friends?
hardly see any of them anymore. Very seldom. I see one or two of them occasionally.
How has that affected you emotionally?
I'm now on medication.
Is that right?
This is where I wanted to be. This was home for me. This was where I had a community around me, where I saw people every day that I would be with. Twice a week I went to the meetings and I was part of an organization, and because they were a smaller organization, I could feel that what I did made a difference.
So this is where you lived for so long?
Yes.
Does it feel emotional coming back and seeing it so empty?
Yes.
Indeed. A lot of history here, you can feel it.
You can feel it. You can feel the families that lived here. You can feel the people that were happy here.
Such a beautiful old home. It seems such a shame.
Yes.
I was the first male associate member
I was just about to ask
of the
that.
War Widows Guild. I was very proud of that. When
How
they
did it come
changed
about?
it, I think they changed the constitution to allow for associate members who were men.
Yeah.
And also, I think it was changed to allow for the potential for same-sex widows, etc. And I think that was a constitutional
Change.
development some years ago. And I think then Stephen Marshall, who was the then Premier, and Bill Denny, who is Veterans SA. There's no finer friend to veterans in South Australia than Bill Denny. They were also made associate members.
So you'd be very affectionate towards the South Australian War Widows.
Well, yes, and I've tried to support them, and I think they're wonderful. Whether the War Widows group survives this development, this takeover, and they're able to move all their archives, etc., and some of the War Widows to another property and stay together, that archive is very, very important. As to these, I mean, it's horrible to think of any heritage buildings going. This is a beautiful old bluestone mansion. What year was it built?
1899, I believe.
It's beautiful and it's in good nick, but I despair of heritage in recent years. Development always wins, as we've seen time and time again. Even if it were heritage listed, we've learnt that means nothing. The Minister for the Environment can, at the stroke of a pen, remove a heritage listing, as we've seen quite often of late. And so without the heritage listing, it's gone for all money. And even if it had a heritage listing, it would be that means nothing.
I guess you
So
would have.
sadly, it'll go.
I guess you would have seen a lot of Adelaide's history disappear over the years.
I've campaigned to save 9 theatres, 11 theatres, and saved 2, the Shedley and at Elizabeth and the Hopgood at Noarlunga. But I've watched 9 theatres go, and a lot of other buildings. But development rules. This land is very valuable to ACH, and which inexplicably it owns, thanks to a very strange and very damaging decision by the forebears of the War Widows Guild, who in their wisdom decided to gift this property to ACH 20 years ago, and now ACH will do with it what it wishes, which is, as I understand, build 2 towers with apartments for wealthy old people. But you see, councils, this would be Burnside Council,
Yes.
the councils love apartment blocks. Now you've got 2 suburban houses on that 2 quarter-acre blocks making a half-acre block. Now, and this happens all the time. The rates for that, depending on position, might be $6,000-7,000 a year for those 2 properties. Now you take them away and you put in 10-storey apartments. You put in 100 apartments or 50 or however many, all of whom are paying a fortune in rates. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars in rates, as against $6,000 or $7,000 in rates. Councils love high rises for that very reason. Also, developers, as I've learnt to my cost, developers, probably ACH, will, in the development here, they'll sign off on rubbish removal. How many apartments are they putting in these 2 buildings?
70, I believe.
Well, you
yes.
can't have 70 people dragging 70 bins or, recycling bins. So what they do is the developer signs off to the council saying, we don't require rubbish removal. And then the residents, through their strata fund, or the ACH, if ACH owns the apartments, whichever, probably they'll be strata. The strata organisation has to pay a private rubbish collector to come daily to remove the rubbish. So my building at Glenelg, for example, I think we pay $1,000 a week for rubbish removal, which is of course a guarantee of rates. You know, what do you get for your rates? Rubbish is up there, top of the list, as something you get for rates. So the developer abrogates rubbish removal, which again saves the council money.
Well, it's a great tragedy, I think, that all of this will disappear, in as much as at the front there is a plaque currently recognising this as the home of the War Widows, but even that will be gone.
It's a shame, because these buildings are named after prominent war widows, you know, who joined together in a moment of absolute crisis, socially, to come together to be with each other and to be an organisation which advocated for the rights of the bereaved, like so many, like other organisations like Legacy, etc., and has been very powerful for these women over the years in terms of what it offered them. This and low-cost accommodation has been key to this. You know, we're in desperate need for low-cost accommodation. So low-cost accommodation here, which has worked successfully for many decades, will be lost.
Yeah. How do you feel about the change of the name of the property to the Stables?
We were rather hoping that this might have retained something along the lines of Vasey Villas or Vasey something. We were hoping that War Widows are going to be recognised in that
she
way.
was the founder, wasn't she?
She was,
Yes.
Jessie Vasey.
There's a Vasey house in pretty much each state.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jessie being
And why call it the Stables?
Well, the only
glass
thing...
and chrome apartment.
Well,
doesn't seem to
indeed.
fit.
Well, I would agree
You
with
could call
that.
it Trump Towers.
You okay?
I think that what they're referring to was the old Victoria Park racecourse that was directly across the road. But this was
But
never
the Stables
Stables.
were on Wakefield
Correct.
Street. That was
So I don't-
road. They weren't on Fullerton Road here.
No, and I don't get the reasoning for it
It
at
sounds
all.
nice.
It does.
Couldn't they call it, Schmick Apartments for
Cashed
rich
up.
old people?
Cashed up, call them cashed up.
Jan, do you know the average price that they're asking?
Word is out there that it's starting at 1.66
1.66 for an apartment.
for an
Off the
apartment.
plan.
Yep, presumably. Yep.
And they'll
Haven't
sell
got that far yet.
like hotcakes.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it would have the most commanding view of the parklands, the big race,
Yeah.
Tour de France, all of the events that go on directly across the road.
Well, I just think it's unfortunate. I'm one of these old types that much prefers to have these old villas treated as they should be treated, like some of our senior folk should be treated, with due respect.
apart from the heritage issues, I would like Jack Batty, when he meets ACH, to say that he went to a meeting the other day where there was a whole lot of people who were horrified by the actual morality of what they were doing, because on their own website it says that they have retirement villages at affordable rates.
Yes.
No one could afford to go into this
Yes.
without getting a legal opinion about what the nature of it is. And if you went to any reasonable investment person, they would say, well, you're not going to own a title.
Yes.
You're going to be, if in 2 years' time you do need to move out, you're going to have all these exit fees, etc., etc., etc. So the actual business model of this place is terrible. And then if they suddenly found that everybody didn't like it, and in 10 or 15 years' time, they say, well, it's untenable because no one wants to buy into this style of thing, then they will turn it into a development. And they're not paying any rates, any taxes, because they're a not-for-profit. I mean, it's the morality of it needs to be borne out, and we can say, we will leaflet everyone in the district,
Yes.
saying how we find it immoral.
Yes.
For it. So they often take advantage of people who are at a
They're
crisis.
most vulnerable.
They're at a crisis, and they go in there and they say, oh, look, it's all getting too much for me, I'll do this, and they get
Yes.
sold into it.
They
If
think
they're
they're
going
helping
to
their family.
be, they're going to be $1 million. You said they're going to be more than $1 million.
1.66 million, we believe.
Well, that's not affordable
Yeah.
living for older people. That's not what ACH was set up for. That's
No.
not what the War Widows wanted.
No, this is a totally new type of development for ACH. They're getting into a new market.
Well, a questionable morality in the
Yes.
market, and we need to question it.
Yes.
The Rose Park Residents Action Group.
Yes.
What are their concerns about the redevelopment here at the War Widows
sure.
site?
Look, our main concern is the fact that there's really just been a complete disregard, in our opinion, for the legacy of the War Widows. The development that's been proposed is very high density, and there really isn't going to be much left in the way of a legacy.
We're talking a couple of giant towers.
Oh, correct. And really just, Vasey House left in the corner, surrounded and dwarfed by enormous towers with really no consideration taken of the legacy of the ladies.
Well, in fact, I believe that on the plans it's been noted that they plan to change the name of the property to The Stables.
The Stables, yes, somewhat interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure what relevance that has to the property.
No.
Do you think that it would be more appropriate if there was some sort of commemoration of the long years that the War Widows were here?
Most definitely. I mean, that would be the obvious choice in showing due respect and consideration for the fact that the War Widows obviously fundraised for very hard to be able to purchase the property, and now it would appear that that's basically being erased.
Yeah, indeed. Erasing our history is one of our biggest problems these days.
Most definitely.
Outside of that, I imagine that the residents would not be too happy, not only about the proposed buildings, but the length of time for construction and
Correct.
access.
That's right. One of the biggest issues we've identified is that the fact that we've got Fullerton Road alongside here, you would automatically assume that would provide access for all of this building, but we've been advised that all of the access will need to be off either Hewitt Avenue, which is a suburban street, and or the very skinny laneway at the back, Thomas Place. So it could be up to a 4-year construction, which really concerns us with young families around and heavy vehicles and so forth over
As
that
well
period
as
of time.
dust, noise.
Everything else, for sure, yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised that the local residents are unimpressed.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, in relation to the Jean Rouse Villa,
Yes.
I believe that you've made an application for local heritage.
I've actually made an application for state heritage. The reason being that my understanding was once the development application's been lodged, due to statutory obligations or reasons, it's not practical for council to put forward local heritage status. So I've actually gone down the pathway of applying for state heritage recognition of both Vasey House and also Jean Rouse Villa.
Yeah.
And the Rose Garden and a few other obviously important aspects based on discussions with the ladies.
And what is the status of those applications?
The status of that is that it's under investigation at the moment by the State Heritage Council.
Yeah.
They've advised that they will be reporting back on the 30th of April, and they'll be making a decision as to whether it proceeds from that point to provisional listing. So it'll either be that it doesn't adhere, or if it does, which we are very hopeful of, then it will go to a provisional listing status, and then there'll be time for people to put in representations at that point in time.
Indeed. Well, I have to say that the Residents Action Group is certainly doing a very good job of recognising the value and legacy of the War Widows, as well as your own residential concerns.
For sure.
And we wish you the very best of luck, and
Thank you,
hope you're
Joe.
very successful.
Much appreciated. Thanks for that. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. But there is something you can do to help. Be aware, spread the word. Go on social media, express your horror at the fact that the South Australian War Widows' legacy is going to be forgotten and disappear. We just can't have that. They cannot be the forgotten War Widows.